Tonight, on the hot seat.
So is it safe to assume that you were more concerned with the potential revenue from these students than with the living conditions of the students?
It was never our intention. It was not the money.
The president of Conestoga College faces questions and criticism from a federal committee, looking for some money back.
So we have become collateral damage in all of this.
Students feeling shortchanged.
The students are not getting the supports and services, but they're still paying the full ticket.
By the support staff strike. Final arguments in a murder trial. A judge determining the fate of a Kitchener man charged in a triple stabbing. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. For the first time in many months, we are hearing from the president of Conestoga College. John Tibbits testified today before a parliamentary committee reviewing the international student program and study permits. He faced questions and criticism. CTV's Krista Simpson was monitoring the hearing for us and joins us now live with more details. Krista.
Tony, Tibbits has kept a low profile since early 2024 when he raised eyebrows over some of the words he used in an interview while talking about Sault College's president. Today, he faced MPs and their questions, including some about those things that he said. In February 2024, John Tibbits referred to the president of Sault College as a whore, something MP Michelle Rempel-Garner asked him about.
How do you reconcile those comments you made about another university president with your present salary and the mess that the region now finds itself in due to your decisions to juice foreign student permits to that level?
Well, first of all, the region is not in a mess. And secondly, I did apologize about that matter. That was a mistake.
Okay.
That one of many exchanges during the committee meeting. MPs state that Conestoga College took in 84,000 international students over a period of 4 years, putting strain on the surrounding community.
There's been a lot of polling that has said that Canada's immigration consensus is broken. Do you take any responsibility for that, given that you juiced foreign student permits to a level where healthcare, housing and jobs clearly didn't have the capacity in your region?
First of all our students found housing, and they weren't all living in no, they did. They found
Okay,
housing.
merci.
Tibbits saying Conestoga College did not bring in students for the tuition fees they paid, but rather it was to help fill gaps in the job market, saying 86% have gone on to find employment.
What we have done all along is worked with the feds, worked with the province, worked with municipalities and industry, and they certainly wanted us to grow dramatically because they couldn't fill positions across a wide range of industries. Healthcare, skilled trades, it's a huge issue in our community. So there's no question that we needed to grow dramatically.
You're saying the federal government was encouraging you to grow those student populations as much as you could?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Tibbits was asked about his salary, more than $636,000 in 2024.
Do you deserve your $600,000 salary?
That's the salary I'm being paid by, and I take the job very seriously. And we have poured at least $500 million back into the community.
Since international student caps were put in place, Conestoga's enrollment numbers have dropped significantly, leading to cutbacks and layoffs, though the college did report a $121 million surplus in its last fiscal year.
This year alone, you're laying off people. Why are you laying off people? You have $550 million in the bank by public records. You make an astronomical salary. Why are you laying people off?
Well, we don't have $500 million in the bank. That's not the case. We do not have $5 million, and the numbers, as you know, have been cut dramatically.
Thank you.
Tibbits has been president of Conestoga College since 1987, nearly 40 years now. In spite of the criticism he has faced, his contract was renewed until the end of 2026, though it was recently announced that the college has begun looking for a search firm to help them find his successor, with the goal of that person being in place by March 2026. Tony.
Okay, CTV's Krista Simpson with new reporting from Conestoga College tonight. Krista, thank you for that. And some Conestoga students are calling for a partial tuition refund as the support workers strike stretches on. They say they're paying for a full education, but only getting half of it. CTV's Alexandra Hollick now with their frustrations.
It's been nearly a month since support staff at all 24 of Ontario's public colleges walked off the job. For Peyton Chartrand, the last 4 weeks have been filled with uncertainty.
It's incredibly difficult to go to school every day and not know if you're actually going to be going to school for the next day.
She says a lack of communication from the college about classes is creating problems for students in all sectors.
It's a train wreck, and it just kind of shined the light on how poorly managed this entire strike's affected the college.
So Chartrand is taking a stand, launching a petition to get colleges to pay attention.
We're asking them to commit to compensation or partial tuition refunds for the loss of amenities that we've had, the loss of supports, and the effects that it's had on us.
In a statement to CTV News, a Conestoga spokesperson says the college hears students' concerns, but if learning is affected by the strike, decisions on refunds will be made by the provincial government, not individual colleges. CTV News reached out to the College Employer Council, who says it doesn't have a statement at this time. On the picket lines, striking staff say they feel for the students.
They paid for an experience that they're being robbed of.
We are here to support and serve the students. The students are not getting the supports and services, but they're still paying for the full ticket.
Meanwhile, students say they just want their voices heard.
We don't have a seat at the table. We're not a part of the negotiations. So we have become collateral damage in all of this. We want the tuition refund. We deserve the tuition refund, but it's about us being heard.
Alexandra Hullick, CTV News, Kitchener.
Time for a first check on the forecast. Alex Pinto in studio with us tonight on what I would describe as a classic fall day. Yes. We had a bit of a cool breeze, but some beautiful sun, and I noticed it really made those leaves light up, the color change.
It did. We're really noticing it right now. It is
picturesque.
Feeling like fall. Like you said, yes, picturesque. 13 degrees daytime high. If you were in the sun, it would have felt a little bit warmer. But this is pretty close to seasonal for this time of year. And it might feel cooler to some of us because earlier in the week, it was more summer-like. But frost advisory still in place for some areas, similar to yesterday. So anywhere in the blue. So this advisory issued when these temperatures are reaching that freezing mark during growing season for the areas impacted specifically. So that's how Environment Canada issues that criteria. But still, we are still under risk for some frost in KW as we get to an overnight low or expected low of 0 degrees overnight. Looking at our satellite and radar map, though, that sun's still shining, nice clear conditions, and yes, fairly comfortable, maybe a nice light sweater or two. But we're going to take a look at how your long weekend Thanksgiving forecast is looking, and potentially a little bit of wet weather could be on the way. So we'll have more coming up a bit later. Tony.
All right, Alex, thank you. Talk to you shortly. A warning about disturbing details in this next story. Final submissions have been made at a murder trial connected to a triple stabbing in Kitchener. The fate of the accused, Dylan Moreira, is now in the judge's hands. Here's CTV's Spencer Turcotte.
Crown Prosecutor Thomas Mack didn't hold back as he made his final submissions at the Waterloo Region Courthouse today. It comes just a couple of days after Dylan Moreira took the stand in his own murder trial. He's accused of second-degree murder and multiple counts of attempted murder and aggravated assault in connection to a triple stabbing in Kitchener in 2022, where Moreira's girlfriend was killed and his girlfriend's daughter and own mother were seriously injured. Moreira has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Mack called Moreira's evidence unreliable and wholly incredible, going on to say his testimony was evasive, self-serving, and frankly disingenuous. Mack referenced Moreira's drug use, his previous criminal record, and changing answers throughout his testimony as fatal to his general credibility. The Crown suggests Moreira's claim that his girlfriend stabbed him first is entirely unsupported. Mack said if Moreira actually made the decision to take the knife from his girlfriend and stab her to protect himself, it's implausible that he would then go and stab his mother and his girlfriend's 7-year-old daughter. As for the stabbing of Moreira's girlfriend, there is no defensive justification for inflicting 21 stab wounds on an unarmed female. The Crown's position is that Moreira had an intention to kill and understood the consequences of his actions that night, so they are asking Justice Gibson to find Moreira guilty on every count. The defense, meanwhile, leaned heavily into Moreira's testimony that his girlfriend stabbed him first. Defense lawyer Stephen Gale told court, "I do assert self-defense," and said there was a physical struggle between Moreira and his girlfriend. Gale also said there were instances that could lead to provocation, like Moreira's dog being stabbed. The dog means more to him than people. The defense also spent time poking holes in the testimony provided by the daughter of Moreira's girlfriend. Gail made it clear he does not believe she was lying, but suggested certain statements don't align with other witness testimony or her own previous testimony. She has no idea where her mum was stabbed, Gail told court. He went on to tell Justice Gibson you should have a reasonable doubt as to whether there was an actual intent to kill. A date for Justice Gibson to deliver his findings still needs to be decided. Spencer Turcott, CTV News Kitchener.
A major overhaul is underway in downtown Brantford. The goal is to make the core of the telephone city a more appealing destination. CTV's Karis Map now on the work that the city hopes will be worth the wait.
Construction crews are breaking ground in Brantford. The project will revitalize the city's downtown core.
So that's improving all of the infrastructure, being wastewater, stormwater, water main, and roadway infrastructure.
Phase 1 is underway, but that impacts traffic.
Brant Avenue between Dalhousie and Colburn Street, as well as ICOM Drive from Colburn Street all the way down to Clarence Street South.
What we're looking to do is install the outlets to the system for the storm sewer. And then for the sanitary system, we're looking to install the middle of the system before we continue the installations down ICOM Drive.
This phase is set to wrap up by September 2026, but the $50 million project is far from over.
Looking forward, we're looking at potentially 2027 through 2029 for the remainder of work on Colburn Street, Dalhousie Street, up to Clarence Street, and then the intersecting streets between them.
Meaning residents will have to be patient.
Oh my God! 5 years is long, yeah.
I don't drive, so I walk everywhere. So walking and trying to cross the street to the other side, especially when one side's closed, is kind of hard.
So for now, traffic is being detoured.
It's going to be taking some of our transport truck traffic, keeping that out of the downtown core so that we can properly do construction. And then it's going to be taking some of our vehicular traffic in and around the downtown.
Normally take me 5 minutes, took me about half an hour to turn around. Yeah, it's just messed up.
Aging infrastructure makes the work necessary.
There's infrastructure on ICOM Drive that was built in the early 1900s and even before the 1900s.
There will be upgrades above ground as well, including new trees and streetlights.
We hope to make the downtown a destination place, make people come to the downtown.
We do need a beautiful downtown. We look everywhere else, they have all nice downtown, but the Brantford, we do really, everybody want.
Karis Map, CTV News, Brantford.
Sign up for the CTV Kitchener newsletter to start your day in the know. The top stories, the forecast, and some must-see videos right to your inbox. Sign up at ctvnewskitchener.ca. In Waterloo today, a groundbreaking move that could have a big impact on healthcare. Coming up, what's so significant about a new laser research facility being built at the University of Waterloo near the site of the new hospital?
I'm Jeff Pickle in downtown Kitchener, where crews are getting ready, set up for Oktoberfest, but along with the kegs and the stages, some new security measures are also in place. That story is just ahead.
Risk for some more frost as we get into the overnight hours. More on who is under the frost advisory by Environment and Climate Change Canada, plus some early check on your Thanksgiving forecast coming up.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvkitchener.ca, your home for news.
The good times and cheer of Oktoberfest are about to get into full swing, and this year organizers have made a very visible change aimed at keeping the party safe. Let's go to CTV's Jeff Pickle joining us live now from downtown Kitchener, where setup is underway. And Jeff, we were just showing it in the monitor, those security devices, they're right nearby you right now, and that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, Tony, these devices right in front of me, actually, they're called MIFRM barriers, and they may not necessarily look like much, but they are incredibly effective at stopping vehicles, in particularly a hostile vehicle if it was approaching at speed. And the reality is, after some devastating acts we've seen really right across the world, devices, security devices like this are necessary for an event as large as KW Oktoberfest.
Usually 2 people can run it, but you can see
they may not look imposing.
Just how easy it is for one person to operate.
These MIFRM barriers pack a punch.
We can move this in seconds, but it will stop a truck. So it's kind of a best of both worlds type of unit.
Set up at each road entrance to Willkomenplatz in downtown Kitchener, these barriers are for a very specific type of incident.
We have brought these in to help with hostile vehicle mitigation.
After deadly vehicle ramming incidents in Canada and across the world,
there have been incidents where people have tried to use vehicles to, create some devastation at events.
It's the type of act you never expect.
That's what we do as event organizers. We plan, and so we plan for all cases out there.
But Oktoberfest and the city of Kitchener say it's their duty to plan for the unexpected.
I think people are saying, wait a second, I feel safe knowing there's something here. I'm going to be on the other side of this fence. We're aware that there's 25,000, 30,000 people, and we're responsible for them.
Well, not confirming the exact cost, the city says these rentals come at a significant expense, but one they say is worth it.
Events are getting expensive. Yes, these are expensive, but when it comes to safety, there is no question that this is paramount.
Now, events here at the Willkomenplatz in downtown Kitchener, they're going to get started tomorrow. Of course, CTV News Kitchener will be down here all day. And KW Oktoberfest, the city of Kitchener, say they have a robust safety plan. So guests like us can just come and enjoy and relax. The safety and security is taken care of. Tony?
Yeah, good to know. Okay, Jeff Pickle with new reporting on security preps at Oktoberfest. Jeff, thank you for that from downtown Kitchener. Well, the University of Waterloo has broken ground on what it says is a North American first, a laser research facility that could be a game changer for healthcare. The project will bring an infrared-free electron laser that can analyze the structure of molecules, identifying early signs of cancer or monitoring chemical changes in wastewater. Inspired by Nobel laureate and UW professor Donna Strickland's groundbreaking work, the multi-million-dollar facility will stand out on campus.
The building is actually, in my opinion, as impressive as the free electron laser. It's a living, breathing building. We have regions that have to be nuclear energy worker regions, laser safety regions, biological and chemical hazard regions, and the building needs to know who can go where and when. It's very impressive how everything works together.
The facility, which will be called Waterfell, will sit near the new hospital planned for Waterloo, which is expected to open the door to collaboration between researchers and healthcare professionals. It's expected to be completed in 2028. A local organization with a mission to help people with physical disabilities and brain injuries is marking a milestone. Traverse Independence celebrated its 50th anniversary today with a Thanksgiving lunch in Kitchener. The idea was to showcase their support for people pursuing independence and community living over the last 5 decades.
There are a lot of people who are struggling navigating through their lives like I did. And while this place doesn't have all of the answers and you have to do the work yourself, it's the place where you can do the work yourself and where you get the guidance on what work you need to do for you.
Traverse Independence offers a variety of programs, including day programs, supportive housing, and assisted living, and also helps people who are experiencing homelessness. A memorial bench in honor of a couple brutally murdered 7 years ago has been stolen from a park in the Wingham area. As CTV's Scott Miller tells us, the couple's family is pleading for its return.
Gail Fisher noticed something amiss with her parents' memorial bench last week when she drove by the park it usually sat in and saw that it was missing.
I didn't want to believe that, right? I initially thought that it was just taken to be fixed or something, right? And then when I had called to find out, I found that it was stolen, and I was just shocked.
Fisher's parents, Doug and Marion Fisher, were murdered on March 29, 2018, inside their Wingham area home. Gail's ex-partner Kevin Carter pleaded guilty to killing them and was sentenced to life in prison in January of 2019. The Fisher family marked the 5-year anniversary of their parents' death with a memorial bench in the family's favorite park between Wingham and Bluevale.
We had wanted it to come to this park because I have fond memories coming here as a child. We'd go in to get takeout and come and eat at the park before we went home, and it was just a spot that we enjoyed.
Fisher says she noticed the bench missing about a week ago. She says another metal bench in the park has also gone missing. Now the Fisher family is holding out hope, as faint as it may be, that their memorial bench will be returned or found somehow. The police are now involved, and the Fishers are hoping that maybe those that took it grow a conscience and return it, because this wasn't just some scrap metal they took. This was a bench that meant something.
It was something a little positive that was there for us after everything that had happened.
Fisher says she used to visit the bench and posthumously talk to her parents about once a month. She holds out hope she'll get to sit with them in this park yet again.
I would love that, yes, and my family would love that.
Near Wingham, Scott Miller, CTV News.
A live look down the Gaukel block in downtown Kitchener. See the clock tower in the background there. What a beautiful start to our Thursday evening. Bit of a chill in the air, as we were discussing earlier, but really loved soaking up that sunshine today. Alex is here to tell us what the holiday weekend is expected to deliver in just a few minutes. Also ahead, putting a new lens on living with Down syndrome. Ashley Bacon will tell us about a local campaign to promote understanding and belonging through a year's worth of images. And next, stuck in Canada? A man who says he's not being allowed to go home to the U.S. That story in a few minutes. All right, Alex is here with our 7-day forecast now, which of course takes us through right to the end of Thanksgiving weekend and beyond, through a big Oktoberfest weekend, through a big Jays weekend.
It's going to be a busy weekend.
There's a lot of pressure to deliver a good forecast here.
Oh, I know. And when we looked at it earlier in the week, it looked pretty good.
Yep.
Things may have changed a little bit.
That can happen.
That can happen.
When you look at the long range too early, and then when you try and bank on it, you always think, I got to wait until a few days beforehand for a really better picture.
Sometimes Mother Nature just wants to change her course last minute. But hey, for us this evening, though, beautiful conditions as we take a live look from downtown Kitchener. Setup getting underway for Oktoberfest. Opening ceremonies tomorrow. Leanne and I will be down there tomorrow morning co-hosting that. And of course, we're going to be broadcasting the 5 o'clock show there live tomorrow. We'll also be sticking around for the 6th. So a lot of fun to look forward to tomorrow for our Friday as we, of course, get into that Oktoberfest spirit. Conditions, though, today overall pretty nice. We are sitting around seasonal, which is nice for this time of year. But that frost advisory issued by Environment and Climate Change Canada still in effect for some areas, in particular south of us. So this advisory issued when temperatures are reaching that freezing mark during growing season. So these are for areas impacted that are still in that growing season, which is why even though we're going to be expected to get down to 0 degrees here in KW, we are not included in that advisory. That said, we still are potentially going to be seeing a risk of frost. So really those crops are going to be at risk when we do see conditions like that. Futurecast, though, nice clear conditions as we look ahead to the rest of your evening, getting into your Friday. We could start to see a little bit more cloud cover start to build up, and then Friday night is when we could see potential for some wet weather, as well as Saturday, and then for Sunday as well. You can see potentially some scattered shower, potentially also a risk of a thunderstorm too. Rain could be heavy at times before that system does pass for the end of the weekend. So temperature-wise, we have been dropping down 11 degrees right now here in Kitchener-Waterloo. 13 if you're in Sarnia, London, the Ridgetown area, 10 if you're in the city of Toronto this hour. So again, 0 is our overnight expected low. Clear conditions, though, anticipated. So yes, if you do have some plants outside or planters, this is a good night too. Again, like we said yesterday, maybe put a bed sheet to cover those up tonight. Tomorrow, 18 degrees expected daytime high, mainly sunny sky. That UV index sitting at a 4 once again. We were at a 4 for today as well, which is considered moderate. So quite a difference compared to the 6 and 5 that we saw earlier in the week. So in terms of our daytime high and normal for this time, we are sitting about seasonal, but the overnight low, we are noticing a bit of a difference. So expected again, 0 degrees for our overnight low. We should be though sitting around 4 for this time of year. Record high, almost 30. That was back in 1949 and minus 8.3. So good news. At least we're not going to get that cold in terms of our overnight tonight. That was set back in 1929 on this day. And that sun now setting 6:49 p.m. Hard to believe. Okay, Waterloo Region, here's a look at your 7-day forecast. So mainly sunny sky, like we said, for tomorrow, and then 40% chance of showers for your Saturday, dropping down to a 30% chance for your Sunday, and then cloud cover expected for your Thanksgiving Monday, high of 17 degrees. Lambton, Kenton, Essex, a bit of sunshine for you as well before some showers could roll in. And you potentially could see a mix of sun and cloud for your Thanksgiving Monday, high of 21 expected. So a little bit warmer where you are for that holiday. And southern Georgian Bay, mainly cloudy tomorrow, 16 degrees before we could see a chance for some wet weather to roll in. But then it looks like for your Thanksgiving Monday, cloud cover and a high of 19 is expected. And here is tonight's Weather Watcher picture from Janet Reed, who took this along the beautiful Grand River in Kitchener, out for a nice kayak, enjoying some beautiful fall colors. You can see them changing right there as well.
You sure can.
Oh my goodness.
You know what you can't really see in that picture, but I'm imagining is that water's probably getting pretty chilly now as well.
Hopefully you didn't fall in and didn't have to go for a dip, because yeah, if we feel like it's cool outside, I'm sure it's quite chilly in that water. But in the direct sun, you know, it feels nice. So hey, take advantage of these last few days of kayaking if you can.
Makes all the difference. Yeah, even if you can't take a dip right now. All right. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it. Israel and Hamas have signed phase 1 of a ceasefire deal. Took a village to get there, mediators from Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey, and there is still more to be done, like deciding who will govern Gaza. But today, a sigh of relief. CTV's Heather Wright has more on the 20-point peace plan that led to this moment.
Standing on top of emergency vehicles, paramedics in Gaza City celebrate the first step toward peace. Honestly, these are indescribable feelings, this man says. We can't believe it. At Hostage Square in Tel Aviv, dancing and singing. Hope that finally the hostages will soon be home.
This is the joy that we are waiting for.
While many important details still need to be ironed out, the first phase of this truce will see all remaining Israeli hostages freed in exchange for hundreds of Palestinians being held in Israeli jails. Israeli forces will also withdraw to an agreed-upon line.
The next 48 hours are crucial. We urge the parties, particularly Hamas, to follow through, release all the hostages.
Many questions still remain, with the more contentious elements of a long-term deal yet to be agreed to, including Israeli demands that Hamas disarm and the complete withdrawal of Israeli troops from the enclave.
When they disarm, whether Israel withdraws sufficiently to send a signal to Hamas that they can disarm, those are the questions going forward.
In the meantime, Israel is preparing hospitals to receive the hostages once they are released after more than 730 days in captivity. Palestinians hopeful that once the bombing stops, they can begin to rebuild their lives. A daunting task with an estimated 2 million people displaced, according to the United Nations, and much of the enclave reduced to rubble.
What we need, of course, is humanitarian supplies. We need food, we need water, hygiene, tents, equipment for the winter to support people in this new phase of the response.
U.S. President Donald Trump says the 48 remaining hostages will be released on either Monday or Tuesday, 20 of whom are still believed to be alive. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
A man who claims to be an American citizen has been barred from returning to the U.S. and is stuck in limbo in New Brunswick. Terrence McBride says he was born in Canada and then adopted by Americans. Border officials are not convinced. CTV's Sarah Plowman reports.
Terrence McBride is stuck in St. John and drained like his bank account. Trouble that started after he pulled up to the U.S. border in Calais, Maine in April, trying to head home to Georgia.
I pulled in here. This is who I am. Are you an American citizen? Yes, I am. Where's your documents?
He says he was detained for a day and a half. The 63-year-old was born in Canada but adopted by American parents as a baby. He says he's American but has a Canadian passport. The adoption records and documents he brought to the border weren't enough.
I spent my whole life assuming I'm American. A couple of times I've crossed the border and they've said, hey, just so you know, you might need some stuff the next time you, but no big deal. Suddenly it's a big deal.
McBride says officials told him not to try to cross into the U.S. again until he gets a U.S. passport or his citizenship number. As he tried to make calls to dig up the files needed, he had a heart attack.
I thought I was dying. I just thought it was stress. I laid there for 2 days on the bathroom floor.
For nearly 6 months, he's lived in hotels, his truck, and now this rooming house. He's had to give up his dog, is without work. He's fundraising to hire a U.S. immigration lawyer to help.
I want to go home. They're the people that make me feel valued enough, loved, appreciated, thought of. I want to go there because I don't have that. I don't have that here.
Kelly Ortega is a U.S. immigration lawyer. While McBride is not her client, she suggests he could file a Freedom of Information Act request to get what he needs.
While he may very well have either green card status or even American citizen status, it's his responsibility to bear that evidence when he seeks entry.
All of it takes time and money.
It's just chiseling away at my heart, and my heart's breaking.
We reached out to U.S. Customs and Border Protection for a comment, but did not receive one before our deadline. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.
Dissecting the outcome of the Trump-Carney sit-down. Coming up with continued buzz of a trade deal in the works, what did the face-to-face accomplish? Analysis next. It's still not clear what Mark Carney accomplished on his trip to Washington to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump on Tuesday. But a comment by the U.S. Secretary of Commerce initially sent a chill across the border. CTV's Mike LeCouture has reaction in Ottawa today.
A day after the American Commerce Secretary said Canada must come second to the U.S. in the auto sector, Canadian lawmakers and car makers insist the industry isn't in danger.
They don't ask, is it Canadian or American? They said, can we ship it by Tuesday?
At a Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, Canadian automotive groups tried to calm the waters. The head of the Canadian Vehicle Manufacturers Association says Howard Lutnick's comments are just posturing.
We know that we need each other. We have an integrated supply chain. Canada is the most important market for the U.S. auto manufacturing sector. So we should expect these ups and downs through the next few weeks.
The U.S. currently has a 25% tariff on Canadian-made cars, with a carve-out for the U.S. elements in those vehicles. However, the Canadian auto parts industry says their American counterparts are lobbying the White House.
Those Canadian assembly plants buy $25 billion worth of parts from our factories every year, and you're hurting us.
The Ford Motor Company reported that tariffs will cost it about $2 billion U.S. this year. General Motors lost $1.1 billion in the second quarter. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the Prime Minister isn't standing up for the industry.
He's accepting second place for Canadian auto workers and continuing tariffs on our finished products.
The federal finance minister disagrees, saying the Carney government is fighting for the auto sector and its workers.
I see ourselves, when I say that, Canada and the U.S. more as complementary
than in real competition.
That argument is likely being made by the Minister of Canada-U.S. Trade, Dominic LeBlanc, who remains in Washington to continue talks with his American counterparts. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Okay, Leanne Evans in studio recapping our top stories now. Leanne, it's been a long time since the president of Conestoga College, John Tibbits, has spoken publicly. That changed today.
Yeah, that's right, Tony. He testified at a federal parliamentary committee this afternoon. He faced criticism over the college taking in 84,000 international students over a 4-year period. Members of parliament raised concerns that the community could not support such rapid growth, especially when it comes to housing. In spite of the criticism he's faced, his contract was renewed with the college until the end of 2026. And students at Conestoga College are calling for a partial tuition refund. They say they're paying for a full education but only receiving part of it because of the support staff strike. They're trying to bring attention to students' concerns across the province and get the parties involved to move forward with negotiations. Striking staff say they feel for the students.
And online tonight, Leanne, we've got a story a lot of people are paying attention to. Of course, the Jays advancing to the ALCS. And then this morning, a lot of fans trying to get tickets for the home games. A lot of them disappointed, though, at the process and how fast they went.
Yeah, you know, it can be frustrating with these big events, trying to get your hands on these tickets. I know I tried to get in the queue there on Ticketmaster. It wasn't easy. 10 a.m. is when the tickets went on sale. Fans were placed in that online queue with Ticketmaster, which actually grew to more than 100,000 people at one point. You can read more about the frustration for fans by going to our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. Not an easy process. You're lucky if you did get tickets because, Tony, that resale value, it hurts. It hurts the heart.
I'm always the one stuck just getting them on the resale market because I don't do that. I never race to get in the queue because I always just assume I'm going to be left out in the cold.
Yeah, those numbers just keep climbing.
I know. Still mulling it over. Okay, thanks,
We've
Leanne.
always got our TVs, if not.
we do. That's true. All right, we'll talk to you later.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks.
As many families continue to feel the financial squeeze of rising food costs, there's a small sign of relief this Thanksgiving. A new study found that the price for that turkey meal has only risen slightly since last year, and the centerpiece of the feast actually went down in price. CTV's Leah LaRocque reports.
It's like a Bible. So I started last week.
It takes a lot of planning for Francine Dion to cook that perfect Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, I wanted a certain weight.
Grateful that this year the cost of the meal didn't run foul. She isn't alone. A new study found the price of a traditional turkey dinner for a family of 4 only went up less than 1% by about 18 cents. But that butterball costs about the same or is slightly cheaper.
It's the largest one they had. So it's 21 pounds for $64. Feeds a lot of people. I think it's reasonable.
I always buy the butterball. And so I did notice that there's perhaps about $15 cheaper this year.
But the downside is that it's the sides that are stuffing consumers' wallets, such as cranberries and gravy.
If you're accustomed to buying anything in a can, this year you will be paying more due to tariffs. So if you want to save money, make your own gravy, make your own cranberries at home.
I'm not really in favor of the reciprocal tariff on certain things. The cost of coffee has really gone up.
Many still opting to include less expensive options, like ham.
It's for Thanksgiving, yeah. I wouldn't buy a big ham like that just for us.
Or looking for savings wherever they can.
I know the price of all my food. If it's not on sale, I don't buy it.
As for Dion, the yearly tradition is less about the food and more about those at the dinner table.
We're doing Thanksgiving, Christmas, all those celebrations, we do them at the cottage. So when the kids come, it's for 3 days.
They want it all, and they're a step closer to getting it. Later on CTV News, the Toronto Blue Jays advance to the American League Championships, sending the Yankees packing on their home turf. We've got reaction and a look ahead later. A new calendar is offering a look through the lens of those living with Down syndrome. It's part of a campaign to showcase images that capture the interests and insights of people living with the condition. CTV's Ashley Bacon explains.
We were told that her life is not worth and to have an abortion. So coming from a doctor, it was a hard hit.
That was the reality Roxana Constantinesco and her family faced when they learned their daughter Ellie was born with Down syndrome. But just days after her birth, the Wellington-Waterloo Down Syndrome Society reached out and invited her to a picnic.
We went and we saw people with Down syndrome from all ages, from a few months to 40, I believe, at that time, and then shortly after, like 6 months after, it was the calendar. So that's when we realized, wait a minute, there are so many people, so many stories.
Fast forward until today, and Ellie is thriving, an athlete who has starred in the annual calendar campaign for the last 11 years.
I like to be on the calendar. It's my favorite place to be on.
It's not your average calendar. It's a visual voice for those living with Down syndrome.
For the last 11 years, we've used these photos to help shift perceptions and open conversations between our communities and people with Down syndrome.
The 2026 campaign is called I Belong.
Calls to action of how can I make someone with a disability truly feel like they belong instead of just inviting them to be a part of something.
The photos capturing lived experiences with participants, creating positive imagery.
I was an artist person, and Pop tell me I'm an artist, and I do a lot of sports.
When I do sports, I feel happy and included.
The calendars will be available through their website at a cost of $10, with less of a focus on fundraising and more of a focus on breaking stigmas.
It's more about getting the word out there and getting these beautiful calendars and these beautiful faces of the people in the calendars out into as many spaces in the community as possible.
The calendars will become available in November, and although there is no specific fundraising goal, the money raised will go to support those living with Down syndrome. Ashley Bacon, CTV News, Kitchener.
And we'll be back with more news in just a couple of minutes. First, let's check in with Alex.
We are feeling that temperature starting to drop as we get closer to the more evening and into the overnight hours. I'll let you know how cool it will be when you wake up in the morning, and wake up weather coming up. Stick around for some great shows on this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. E-Talk before The Big Bang Theory. Then at 8, it's Hell's Kitchen before 911 Nashville at 9. And then at 10, Grey's Anatomy.
We're going to check in with Leanne one more time for a look at some stories we'll have later tonight. Leanne.
Well, Tony, for those inspired by the Blue Jays playoff run, maybe you want to try out the sport yourself. A new baseball training facility has opened its doors in Guelph. Colton Weens is there checking it out. Also tonight, Ontario's measles outbreak that began almost a year ago is now over. Public Health Ontario says it made the declaration Monday following national guidelines. At that time, 46 days had passed since someone linked to the outbreak developed a rash. So we'll bring you the latest on those stories and more at 11:30. Tony.
Okay, Leanne, thank you so much. Have a good night. And Alex is back with our wake-up weather for big Oktoberfest weekend Friday.
Oh, yes. We got a big day tomorrow to look forward to. But before we get to that warm-up, so 18 degrees expected high, we got to deal with a little bit of a chill from the overnight. 6 a.m. -1 is what we're expected to see. So again, that risk of frost is sticking with us getting into the overnight. You may have some plants. If you have any tropical plants, now's the time to definitely bring them inside. Or you may want to cover any planters that you may have outside that you have all nice set up for Thanksgiving weekend. Should warm up to about 9 by 10 in the morning, and then hopefully that temperature just keeps rising because yeah, I'm going to be wearing short sleeves on stage tomorrow, so
of course
I just want to keep it a little warm for me.
I mean, you've got to. I think by later in the day you'll be good. There'll be so much going on down there, and that sunshine will help.
Yes, it will for sure.
Okay, finally for us tonight, big weekend for the Toronto Blue Jays as well. They're moving on to the next round of the postseason. They knocked out the New York Yankees last night, and they did it in the Bronx.
And now they wait to see who they will face in the American League Championship Series. CTV's Raheem Ladani with that story.
Bedazzled in blue, Jays fans are embracing every moment of Toronto's postseason push.
It's great for the city, it's great for the economy, and it pulls the country together.
For the first time since 2016, the Jays are heading back to the American League Championship Series.
It's the team of destiny. I'm inspired.
I have been a fan since day one. I was 93. I was here when we won the World Series, so this is very exciting for me.
Start spreading the news. We're going!
In the Bronx, the teams popped bottles of champagne after eliminating the New York Yankees from the postseason. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
The Yankee lose.
Taunted, tortured Yankees fans Wednesday night.
I'd like to show you one of my prized possessions.
Watching it all unfold from her home was 88-year-old Joyce Zweig.
Well, I thought I was going to have a heart attack.
Zweig and her family have been to every Jays home opener since the inaugural one at Exhibition Stadium back in 1977.
I did not believe that we really were going to have a major league team in Toronto. It was a terrible day. It was cold, it was snowy.
Even as a lifelong fan, though, Zweig wasn't able to snag a seat for the upcoming ALCS home games. And she isn't the only one struggling to access tickets.
50,000th in line, have a couple windows open for Game 7, Game 1. And thankfully, I scored one ticket for Game 7, like right up high.
The Jays still don't know if they'll face the Detroit Tigers or Seattle Mariners in the next round. But inside the Jays shop, fans buying merchandise have high expectations.
Added to the collection, collect them as we go. And the next one will be a World Series one, hopefully.
As the Jays are 4 wins away from appearing in the World Series.
Did you see the price on that ticket? Did you notice the price on that 19?
No, I couldn't see it. But I'm sure it's much different than it's going for now.
$6.50. My eye was drawn to that 1977 ticket. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, you can't get that now.
Times have changed. Have a good night.
Take care.